Welcome to another video, and in this video we've got a 118 kill game with the M1A1 Carbine on Rotterdam Conquest. As always, stick around in this video where I'm going to explain the pros and cons, of course, of this weapon, as well as how to use it on this map, how to play on this map to get the maximum amount of potential kills, so to get that 100 bomb, and then specifically what is happening in this game as well. If you have seen my top 5 assault weapons for Battlefield 5, you will know that this gun is in there, and that is for a multitude of reasons. As you can see, it's got a very quick reload with a 31 round magazine, that 31 rounds being one of the highest amounts in the assault class, competing of course with all the other different types of guns, and as a result of having those 31 rounds on a semi-automatic as well, it means its damage output is actually more or equal to some of the other guns like the Sturmgewehr, which is obviously one of the most meta guns in the assault class. Of course, the M1A1 is going to have a slower fire rate, but you are going to be able to maintain a much higher accuracy percentage. And overall, those 31 rounds, meaning that your maximum kill potential is much larger than any of the other guns, even if you include the meta Gewehr 43, which has 10 rounds or 11 rounds with the box magazine. You can still get more kills, therefore, with this gun than you can with the smaller magazine but higher damage semi-automatic weapons in the assault class. So moving on, of course, the fire rate is as fast as you can fire it with a trigger finger. You will know this is the gun dubbed for rapid fire controllers, or the go-to gun for people with rapid fire. In this video, I promise you, I'm not using rapid fire. It's all down to my own trigger finger, and you can see in the clips when I go for targets at longer range, I'm firing at a slower rate so I can maintain higher accuracy and actually get kills quicker that way. And in terms of the negatives of the gun, there aren't really any negatives at all. Of course, the damage isn't as good as some other guns, but you've got way more bullets and a better fire rate to counteract that against some of the other semi-automatic weapons. The only real major downside is the bullet velocity at those extreme long distances. However, this is a gun which you're going to be using mostly at close or medium range rather than long range. However, you will see at long range, if your targets are standing still and you're good with the recoil control, you can absolutely obliterate them, and you get a lot of headshots because the recoil is very minimal. But if you're aiming at the chest, after 2 shots, that 3rd shot normally always goes and gets a headshot. As you can see as well, I am going with the iron sight. My preferred sight, of course, is the iron sight on the M1A1, and we've got the gold variant there, which removes the ring on the back, which therefore makes it a much clearer picture for what you're aiming at and looking at. You can get another sight option, which completely removes completely removes the sight at the back of the gun, which just gives you the front post, which can give you an even more clearer sight. But I like the gold with the back on it because it just gives me a bit more focus on what I'm aiming at. In terms of the other sight options, so the reflex sight or 3x scope, the 3x scope for this weapon has a bit too much of a thick bar to make it really viable at the longer ranges, which it is capable of when you're using an iron sight. And the reflex sight, the tint on the scope, or the tint on the sight rather, can make it much harder to see enemies, and the zoom on the reflex sight is not as much as the iron sight or the 3x scope, and so it becomes way less accurate at those medium to long ranges. Therefore, the iron sight or the 3x scope is the way to go. But in my opinion, as you can see there with that long range headshot, the iron sight is definitely the way to go, because that front post is so thin, you can be pinpoint accurate on whatever you're aiming at. Moving in on how to play on Rotterdam, of course, if you have seen all my other Rotterdam 100 kill games, I am going to be repeating myself, but I will keep it really short and really brief. You want to stay around the bridge in the middle of the map, because on top of the bridge here where I am now, it is an equal distance to all the different flags around it, and you can see all of the enemies, one using the bridge to traverse up and down the map, as well as all the enemies traversing from the spawn flags of both sides across the map as well. So you can see the most amount of potential enemies by staying on that power position there on the bridge by C flag. And being on an elevated position on the bridge means you're not going to get targeted easily by any vehicles that are on ground level, as well as other infantry on ground level. You've always got the railings as well as all the 2 different trains to keep yourself as cover. As well as, of course, if you're using the correct weapon, such as this, for good medium to long range action, then the trains and the long linear bridge is just perfect to take on any enemies and get you really easy kills. So if you're playing with any medium to long range weapons, staying on the bridge is perfect. If you are going to be playing with close range weapons, so SMGs or the like, then you want to be trying to stick around the power position on the bridge, D flag and C flag, maybe E flag as well, but those are the main positions you want to go to. B flag is too far out of the way and will waste you more time running to B flag and back to the other flags than if you just wait on the power position. So going to B flag is a waste of time and not an option. Even if you get 5 kills, it wastes more time than you could get kills somewhere else if you're going for those high 100 kill games, and that goes for the same with A flag as well. Let's move into this game here in particular. I'm now at this point here patrolling, as you've seen in all the previous clips, the power position here on the bridge, holding off the enemies that are coming from C flag. And you can see in this clip here as well how good the gun, obviously in using the iron sight, can be at long range once you've used it enough and you get used to the recoil pattern, which you can see in just a second's time. So pushing up on the bridge there with 24 rounds and getting 4 to 5 kills still, even without a full magazine, and hitting almost every shot on targets that are at a medium to long range. So you really cannot go wrong with this weapon. Right now, at this point of the game, I've killed enough enemies on that power position of the bridge that they're now starting to swarm it, as you might be able to hear the footsteps above. I am now, therefore, wanting to go back to the power position, but there are so many enemies there which I can hear, and therefore I'm just patrolling, watching the stairs there, behind the pillar, so if multiple enemies come down both staircases, I'm not going to get swarmed by multiple enemies. I've got cover to be able to take on one enemy at a time, and therefore waiting to push back up onto the bridge like I have done here. So that is going to wrap up all the commentary for this video. There's 1 minute left, which I'll let you guys finish watching without me commentating on. Please smash the like for me, and I will see you on the next video.
Attention, we have now taken objective Baker.
Like everything I feel had a limit, it now gone past. Finding reasons to smile and to laugh, and whenever it's a bad day, music is my band-aid.